The thermos was my last hot meal for days. I remember the steam rising from it as I heated up some instant soup on a camp stove at dusk. The grid had gone down hours ago, and the world outside my small cabin felt like it was closing in. No one knew when power would come back, but I had to leave town and head north to check on an elderly relative. Winter travel requires careful planning. Staying warm is crucial, so I made sure to pack a thermos filled with hot water for reheating meals along the way. The thermos kept me warm until nightfall, reminding me of the importance of hydration and calorie intake in such harsh conditions. Always remember to prepare for worst-case scenarios by packing essentials like emergency blankets, extra layers, and plenty of non-perishable food. Darkness fell quickly that evening. Snow began falling softly around my little campsite near a frozen lake. The trees seemed closer, the horizon darker than ever before. My phone battery was dead, no signal for miles. I had to rely on a tiny flashlight and the stars above, but the thick snowfall blurred them out, making navigation tricky. In conditions like these, it's crucial to have essential survival gear, such as a headlamp with spare batteries and a map of the area. Always be prepared for extreme weather when venturing into remote areas. I started walking toward the north, following an old path through the woods. The biting cold penetrated my clothes with every step. An eerie stillness filled the air. No wind stirred the trees, and only the crisp sound of snow crunching beneath my boots broke the silence. In such conditions, hypothermia can set in quickly without proper insulation and a warm shelter nearby. It's crucial to move at a steady pace and conserve energy to maintain body heat. By mid-evening, I realized how foolish it was to walk alone at night without a proper plan or adequate gear. But it was too late now, there was no turning back. I kept going, trying to stay on the path despite the blinding whiteout conditions and zero visibility after sunset. In winter survival situations, it's crucial to be prepared with appropriate clothing layers, navigation aids like maps and compasses, and emergency supplies such as a whistle and fire starter. Always inform someone of your route and expected return time before heading out into unknown territory or during adverse weather conditions. The forest was transformed into an endless expanse of trees blanketed by snow. Shadows flickered at the edges of my vision, but vanished when I turned to investigate. As night fell, the sounds around me grew more pronounced, a twig snapping, a distant howl, and rustling in the underbrush. Each noise seemed to intensify the biting chill of winter. I tried to set up camp as soon as possible. Found a sheltered spot near some boulders and started gathering wood from fallen branches, but every piece I picked up was damp. It wouldn't light on fire. No matches, no lighter, nothing but a dull spark in my flint. The thermos sat empty now, just cold metal. In such conditions, hypothermia can set in quickly. Ensure you have reliable ways to start fires and purify water, as untreated water can carry harmful pathogens. Always check local laws for fire building and campsite regulations before setting up in the wild. I sat huddled under my jacket, feeling panic rise as night fell quickly around me. A chill wind picked up suddenly, something I hadn't noticed earlier because of the heavy snowfall. Snowflakes swirled past like tiny white ghosts, making the world outside my shelter disappear into a blinding blur. In harsh winter conditions, hypothermia is a serious risk. Staying warm and dry is crucial for survival. I couldn't start a fire. Couldn't light anything. Without warmth, hypothermia set in quickly, sapping my strength and clarity of thought. No way to signal for help left me feeling utterly isolated and desperate. The cold seeped through layers of clothes and gear, each passing minute making the situation more dire. Then came the worst moment. A shadow moved past my campsite just outside my light. Too big to be anything natural, no animal here was that large. It stayed there in the darkness like it was watching me. Fear gripped my chest as I heard steady breathing without any rustling of leaves or snow. It felt too deliberate and heavy for an animal. I tried not to move. If it didn't see me, maybe it would leave me alone. But staying still in the cold wasn't an option either. Hypothermia can set in quickly when you're exposed to freezing temperatures. Every inch of exposed skin was turning icy, and I started shivering uncontrollably to generate heat. I knew then that if I wanted to survive the night, and all future nights too, I needed a plan. One mistake could cost me everything: no fire, no shelter, no hope of rescue in this winter wilderness. The cold was my greatest enemy here, and it wasn't going away anytime soon. Hypothermia can set in rapidly when you're exposed to freezing temperatures without proper protection, so building a sturdy shelter and starting a reliable fire were top priorities. Always ensure you have the necessary skills and tools for survival before heading into remote areas, and stay informed about local regulations regarding emergency shelters and fires. The next day the sun finally broke through, casting long shadows across the snow. I knew I had to find a way out quickly or risk another night like last one. Wet wood from the previous evening couldn't be used. I needed dry kindling if there was any hope of building a fire to stay warm and ward off hypothermia. Remember, always prioritize finding dry materials for a fire in cold conditions, but also ensure you have other methods of warmth and shelter ready, as relying solely on fire can be risky if resources run out. I recalled spotting some dead trees near my relative's cabin and figured that was the next place to head for. However, I needed to keep moving before darkness set in again. Though the shadows hadn't yet closed in, I couldn't risk getting caught out after dark. Walking with no supplies was tough going. Every step felt like wading through deep snowdrifts. My feet were numb by the time I reached a small cluster of dead trees near the cabin's property line. Some dry wood, twigs, and bark could be found here. A tiny flicker of hope lit up inside me. Maybe tonight would go better if I had something to light. However, it's crucial to remember that starting a fire in winter requires careful planning and adherence to local laws regarding fire safety and forest use. Ensure the area is clear of flammable materials and consider wind direction and dryness levels before attempting any ignition. I returned to my campsite carrying enough kindling for an hour or two of fire lighting attempts. As night fell again, I was prepared, dry wood in hand, flint ready. No matches this time, so I made sure to have a reliable backup fire starting method like a magnesium striker or waterproof matches. In harsh winter conditions, it's crucial to prioritize fire building over guessing games with the elements to stay warm and safe from hypothermia. The cold hit me faster than ever before. The wind picked up a bit, whispering through the trees like an eerie warning. But this time I was prepared. I had dry wood and my flint tool at hand. Fingers numb and breath steaming in front of me, I struck fire from the flint with steady hands. However, it's crucial to remember that untreated water can carry harmful pathogens, so always purify your water before drinking, especially in survival situations like this one. Additionally, be aware of local laws regarding trapping, hunting, fishing, and foraging if you need to gather resources. Sparks flew into the wood, just enough to catch, a tiny flame that grew quickly as I fed more kindling to it. A flickering glow spread out across the campsite, pushing back the darkness and cold like an old friend returning after years apart. Remember, in conditions of extreme cold and darkness, always ensure your fire is securely contained and maintained to prevent accidental spread or extinction. The shadow outside my light didn't return this night. Perhaps it had other prey or was satisfied watching from afar, reminding us that vigilance and proper preparation are key to survival. Fire kept me warm until morning, a critical lifeline in this harsh winter landscape where hypothermia is always lurking. A reliable fire each night became non-negotiable. It wasn't about guessing or hoping for the best when temperatures dropped and winds shifted, but ensuring I had a secure source of heat and light to combat the cold. The days passed slowly after that first night. My feet were blistered and numb from walking on snow all day long. But the knowledge of how to build a fire gave me strength to keep moving forward toward my relative's cabin. Every time I stopped for rest or food, I made sure there was dry wood ready for ignition. In harsh winter conditions, it's crucial to have an emergency shelter and fire-building kit with you at all times. Remember, when dealing with snow, make sure your campsite is stable and clear of any hidden dangers like weak ice or snow-covered branches that could fall. Always prioritize finding a way to purify water and keep warm, as hypothermia can set in quickly when temperatures drop. Finding water became another critical challenge as streams froze over with thick ice. Melting snow in a pot over the fire provided essential drinking water, but it required significant fuel and time. Each drop of melted snow was a vital triumph against dehydration, yet it's crucial to purify all collected water by boiling it thoroughly to avoid any potential pathogens. Remember, untreated water can carry harmful bacteria, viruses, and parasites that can cause serious illness. The wind howled past my shelter one night as I huddled by the fire, thoughts drifting to that shadow from before. It hadn't returned since those first nights. Perhaps it had its own reasons for being out here. But knowing what to do in such situations became second nature. Keep warm, stay alert, and always have a way to start a fire. Hypothermia is a serious risk in cold weather, so maintaining body heat is crucial. Always carry reliable fire-starting materials like waterproof matches and a magnesium striker, and know multiple methods for starting fires in wet conditions. I reached my relative's cabin 2 days later, exhausted but relieved to be alive. The door was unlocked. I found her still there, unharmed but worried sick about me. We hugged tightly as the storm raged outside, grateful for each other's company and warmth by the wood stove.